be off during my live lessons, please. Okay. I'm going to get a warm-up on the board. It's going to be things that you guys know how to do, but we're going to use it a lot the next 2 weeks. So, yeah. Number 1. Let's do 568 divided by 8. Number 2. 1,496 divided by 12. And number 3. That sounds good. 8,024 divided by 40. When you solve these, and if they have a remainder, I want you to go out a few decimal points. And I want you to round it to the nearest hundredth. Okay? That's so wrong. So you're doing this warm-up. I just kind of made up these problems. So if they go in evenly, awesome. If not, you need to go out a couple decimal points and round it to the nearest hundredth, please. So work on this division. I'll give you about. If it stops at the hundredth, that's good. This needs to go out 2 decimal points. Yeah.
I'll just send it to skateboard.
The skateboard I asked you to put away a few minutes ago?
Yeah, and then step down.
Okay, get to work.
Oh, we should have something. Nothing.
Stay focused, guys. You're going to show me how to do this now.
What the heck? Remainders, then 2 decimals? Yes. And then round it? Yes, to the nearest hundred. Which one's guess what?
568 divided by 8.
Never mind. I found my marker. I can send my marker went missing again. But I found it.
$71. You just want to round it to the nearest hundred. So where's 71 by round? Round up or round down? You get 1, you get 2 more too.
Right out right on the top. Where's your eraser? I have no idea. It's not like no words either. I'm done.
Alex, again, you do not need to comment on every single thing someone said. Get to work.
No. So we need to put it.
It go into 56 then.
Yeah.
Down at 8, down to 8, how many times? You don't even have a remainder. Run around it. I'm good.
So you were the 8 times what? 56.
20 times.
That much? What's that big number, you don't go in the same time?
71.
So we know that 8 times 7 is 56.
We're sitting one down, round up, and round down.
It's 56.
You can more than 5. 5 or greater, you can round up.
You know, just leave the 8 on for now. So that's a 0. You got the 0. Now you can drop down the 8.
1.
Okay? Yeah, just kind of there. Okay. So now this 8 go into 8. Yeah, turn it down. One time. Four is the one.
1 times 12, 25.
Okay. And what is the drop? There are 8 and 8. You got 0. Like under 8. What you're done. So 8 was 8. Yeah, it's better. Definitely like that.
You have 9.
You can.
Take away 4.
Okay, about 1 more minute on these 3 problems. I'm gonna check attendance real quick, and then we can probably get going over them.
He's gonna paint one. He said nice and focused. Jimmy Turner.
All right, I think we could probably get going over these. So like I said, if you weren't here, but if you, whatever, at the beginning I said that we're going to be using this concept a lot this week. So that means we're going to be doing a lot of division for the next 2 weeks. So I wanted to practice it again, get you used to it again, because we haven't done a whole lot of it lately. So let's start with this. So we're doing 568 divided by 8. Does 8 go into 5? No, so we're going to put an X above there. But does 8 go into 56?
Yeah.
How many times? Goes in 7 times. And then we do 7 times 8, and what goes underneath? 56. Then what do? We have to subtract first, you get 0. Then what? Now you drop down your 8. Does 8 go into 8? How many times? Where does the 1 go? Up top. And we know it's 8. And we're done. Once you end up with a 0 at the end, you're done. So the answer to number 1, 71. Okay? Simple division like we've been doing, right? We know how to do it. Over here, I think we might end up with a remainder. We'll see. I don't remember.
Which one, number 3?
2. Okay, cool. So does 12 go into 1? No. Does it go into 14?
Yeah.
Yes. How many times? Once. Subtract your 12. You have to do 4 minus 2, which is 2. And 1 minus 1 is 0. Now what?
Now we're going down.
Drop down our 9, so we have 29. Does 12 go to 29?
No.
Not evenly, but how many times does it fit? Twice. 2. Okay. 2. And 2 times 12 is 24, so we can subtract that. And then, what is 29 minus 24? 5. What now? Bring down our 6.
Oh, I did that one wrong. Nice.
Okay, and then does 12 go into 56? 4 times. Put our 4 up top.
I did that one a lot wrong. I subtract 9 and equals 3.
What is 12 times 4? Put right here.
4 is 48.
48. And when we subtract, what do we get?
You get 136. You get
8. Okay. So but I did say that we need to round to the nearest hundredth. Now I saw an issue, at least when I was walking around. I saw a couple people round it to the nearest hundred, not hundredth. Hundredth is a decimal point. If we have the number 123.45, where is the hundredth place? What number is the hundredth? Down.
5.
That's 5. So we need to go out 2 decimal points to figure out what our answer is here. How do I do that on a problem like this? What do I do? What do I need to do next to get my decimals?
Round.
Well, we can't round yet. We don't have anything to round it to. We still have to go out 2 decimal points. What do I have to do?
Put decimal and then put the A up by the decimal.
Not an 8, the 0. You have to
Add a 0.
add a decimal and a 0,
I did something wrong.
right? And if you add a decimal to 0, you got to make sure you bring up the decimal. Now we can drop down our 0 and we have 80. So does 12 go into 80? How many times? Not 7.
Six.
7 is too much. 6. I heard it on the online. And you get 72. Subtract again, you get 8. We got to do one more thing. Then we're done with this problem.
Add a 0.
Add another 0. Drop it down. Get 80. And again, 12 goes into 80. How many times?
6.
6. This one will just keep on repeating and repeating and repeating. So we're just going to round it. 124 and 6.7. 6.67. Where did I get the 7?
By the next one.
Good. The next one would have been a 6. You take the 6, round this up to a 7. So 124 and 67 hundredths. Lots of work there, but you're going to have to do this a couple times this week. So keep that in mind.
But this week is division.
Not necessarily just division, but you're going to need to use division. Number 3, we have 8,024 divided by 40. So does 40 go into 8?
Yeah.
Really?
5 times.
Really?
Never mind. 2 times.
40
No.
goes into 8, not at all. But 40 goes into 80 2 times. That wasn't the question, guys. I don't. It goes in twice. 2 times 40 is 80. So we subtract. What's 80 minus 80? 0. Okay, what do I do next?
Bring down the 24.
Not the 24.
Bring down the 2.
Bring down the 2. Does 40 go into 2?
No.
No. What do I have to put up here then? What?
0.
Yeah, it's inside your number, so you put a 0. We subtract the 0 and get a 2. Now what?
Bring down the 4.
Bring down our 4. Does 40 go into 24?
Yeah. No.
No. So what do I have to put up top?
0.
Another 0. We subtract and get 24. But I'm not done because I want you to round to the nearest hundredth if it goes that far. Good. We need to do another decimal and a 0 to add it up there. If I add a decimal here, what do I have to do with it? Bring it straight up. And then we drop down our 0. Now, does 40 go into 240?
Yes.
It does. It goes in 6 times. Does it go in evenly?
Yes.
It does. So we get 0. So do we need to go out to the nearest hundredth this time? No, because our decimal stops. So our decimal here is 206 tenths. Bad circle, but there's. Okay. We're going to use this a few times this week. Not for Monday, Tuesday. Maybe not even Wednesday, but Thursday, Friday we'll get into it. So we'll probably practice this a few more times throughout the week. Okay? I do believe our assignment and what we're doing today has posted. I'm going to check attendance. Actually, I think it's the same. Okay, we're good. Let's go ahead and head over to Google Classroom. Okay, over on Google Classroom, under Math. Oh, good, it is there. You should have a new assignment that is called Statistical Questions Intro. So we're going to talk about statistics, which is data and things along those lines. What's up, Jada? Okay. Your hand is still raised. Do you need something or no? So over on Google Classroom, on the assignment, there is a set of Google Slides and a Google document. We'll do the Google Doc second, so I need you guys to open up the slides, please.
Data introduction, SPO1,
Yep. So we're going to talk about data. I'm going to present it as a PowerPoint at the beginning so we can talk through some things. And then we'll do a couple things where we answer questions. I'm not sure if we type on here or not. I don't remember. So we shall see.
I'm gonna look.
But when we talk about statistics and data, it's things like there are the percentage of basketball players that are over 6 feet tall, probably 100%, but something like that. Maybe not. There's a couple that are shorter.
Curry's under 60.
There you go. So there is a percentage that's under 6 feet. So gathering information about a question that you want to answer things. When I always bring it back to that master's program I did. Remember, I've talked about that 70-page paper that I had to write one time? I had to basically ask a question, gather data about that question, and find the statistics about it.
Wait, when did you do that last year?
Last summer, yeah. So, you actually go forward. This is sort of things that you can do in real life. You won't use it all the time. It really will depend on your job. If you go into a job where they use a lot of data, you'll use stuff like this quite a bit. As a teacher, we actually use a lot of data and statistics.
Is the game board like that?
Yeah, you'll have to do a lot of data about how many people have tags, how many deer there are. Mr. Turner might be able to say more about that than I could about hunting, but game wardens do that, right? To an extent, yeah. But there are people that in the forestry realm have to keep track of data about the animals that are out there
Like, yeah.
hunting.
I wonder if they have to count them.
I can buy all of these, so.
Yeah, they'll tag the animals and things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and present this, and we're gonna go ahead and go over it and talk about what data even is. So this is just an introduction. We'll talk about it today, do a little bit of a practice thing later, and then it's a 2-week standard, so there actually will not be tests on Friday. Not this Friday. So it's 2 weeks of working on this type of stuff. All right. So this is an example of why you might need some statistics or some data that you could gather. Not my favorite example, but it does say that most parents don't worry about the number of letters in their children's names. Sometimes, though, that name length does matter, like on a driver's license or a library card or maybe an ID bracelet, things like that. So you might need to, I don't know, Yoshi's name comes to mind, honestly. You have a long first name. So putting his first name on his driver's license might be a little bit difficult because he's got a long first name, right? Whereas mine, my first and last name, Kylie Jones, very short, right?
My whole name is 18 letters.
Yeah.
I think mine has one.
Yeah, it does. So, there are some reasons why your name might but it's better to have it a slightly shorter for some of those things. So, what do you think is the typical number of letters that's in the full name? So the first and last name, not middle names, just the first and last names of your classmates. So think about yours. Count how many letters are in your first and last name. Do you think you're in the middle, on the top, on the bottom? Keep it to yourself for a second.
Wanna know something weird? All my first names have 6 letters in it.
That's cool. Okay, so figure out how many letters are in your first and last name combined.
We at least all have 12 letters or more.
Okay. So, let's see.
I can't count.
Let's go for online as well. Maybe like if you're in the Google Meet, push the raise hand button when I call that. Well, hang on. Let me finish my statement, please. When I give you the category, do the raise hand button. So if your first and last name have less than 10 letters, do the raise hand. So we can see your first and last name do not have less than 10 letters. Okay, combined, first and last name together, less than 10. And what about less than 12? Some of you guys are right at 12. We'll count that too. 12 or less. And what about 15 or less?
I have
Couple
no
more?
idea.
Yours is probably like 20.
Count all your letters in your first name and last name.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there anybody that has more than 16 letters in their name? First and last name. Might be a couple of you guys. Yeah, Liliana, yours might.
Wait, less than 16?
No, more than 16. I think Liliana is up there. I think Yoshi will be up there.
And so for my full name, I have 18 letters.
Yeah, but we're not including the middle name. Just the first and last name.
The last one I might have 20 letters.
Yeah, 17.
Yes, yeah, that's at 17.
I'm all up to that, how to get no numbers.
I got 14 letters.
Yeah, I got 17.
Okay, Yoshi has 17 letters in his full name. So,
Well, not my whole full name. I still have my middle name.
yeah, but we're only doing first and last name, right? So if we were to gather data on that, we could ask every single person, how many letters is your first and last name? And we could make charts and we could talk about it and make different statistics. Stop cutting me off, please. We could make different statistics based on that. So based on, well, I think the average for this class is probably around 12 to 15 letters. Some of you guys go by nicknames and stuff, so it could be shorter with the nickname. So let's look at a couple of questions. It says, what data would we need to collect this and how could we collect this data? Let's assume that everybody is in person, everybody's inside the classroom. If we needed to collect first and last names of everybody, how could we do that? What's some ideas that we could do?
The number of people who have the same birthday and the same month.
No, we're just talking about first and last names. How could we collect that data?
Who has what letters the most popular in their last name?
No, like legitimately the first and last names of the people in the class. How could we collect that data? What could we do? I think you guys are thinking a little too hard about this. We don't need to count. We need to know their first and last names. How could we know their first and last names?
I said have them up.
Asking people. That's one of the best ways to collect data. Ask people for whatever question you're asking. If you're asking, when's your birthday? Yoshi, when's your birthday? You ask the person, right, to collect that data. I don't need it, no. But when we need to collect data, you have to ask people for things. You can't just assume that you know the answer, right? Yoshi, I'm going to use you as an example again. We know that Yoshi's name is Yoshi, but that's a nickname, right? So we can't assume that Yoshi's name is just Yoshi. He has a full longer name, right? So you have to make sure you ask for the correct data. If you ask him what's his name, he's going to say Yoshi. He's not going to say his full name probably. So you got to make sure you ask for the correct data too, right? Our next question here is, how could we organize this? If we found out their names, we started counting them, and we figured out how many letters are in everybody's first and last names, how could we organize that? What's a way that we could do that? Make a graph. Good. A chart. Any other ideas? You can make groups based on how many numbers. A pie chart. There's lots of ways that we could do it, right? On Wednesday, we're going to talk about one of those ways to organize data. Okay?
Can I guess what it is?
No, we'll talk about it later. Let's see. This is what we're going to do today. We're going to skip this. Some vocabulary that we need to talk about. There are two different types of data. The first one is categorical, which means that it has a specific name or label for the category. So if we're asking questions about what's your favorite type of cereal, the category of Cocoa Pebbles could be an answer, or Captain Crunch, or Honey Nut Cheerios. Whatever the person gives you is a categorical thing. It's a category of data. If you ask what day of the week what month you were born in, that's a category because people are born in different months. The other type of data that you can collect, there we go, is numerical. This is an actual number. People give you a number as an answer. So if you ask how many letters are in your first and last name, people are going to give you the answer of a number, not a category of something, right? Yes.
I wonder if any people have over 100 letters in their full name.
I think there's probably a couple people. Depends on where you're from.
They have like 3 last names that I need.
So, an example of a categorical data is what kind of pet do you have? Someone could answer cat, dog, hamster, lizard, rabbit, right? Those are categories of animals. If you ask them how many pets do they have, they're going to give you numbers. So it's a numerical type of data. Do you see a difference there? Numbers versus categories?
Second grade, I think there's like 30 and
Of what?
20.
All right, what do we got next?
28.
So let's go ahead and go over these and answer a couple of them. Let's not yell at answers. Let's raise our hands. You can use the raise your hand thing on the Google Meet if you want to, or if you're in person, you can raise your hand here. But let's not yell at the answers. So we're going to talk about whether or not these are categorical or numerical data. So our first question says, in which month were you born? They're going to give you answers like January, February, March, April, right? So take about 10, 30 seconds. Think about that. Is it categorical? Are they giving you categories? Or is it numerical? Are they going to give you a number as an answer?
For all 3 of those things?
Just the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Maudie, you have your hand raised. Which one is it? It is a categorical one because you're going to answer things that are a category. They're going to answer a month of the year, not a number. Okay? Let's look at number 2. There's no numbers, but take about 30 seconds to think about this one. What is your favorite kind of pet? Okay, Charlie, categorical or numerical? Categorical. People are going to give you answers like cat, dog, rabbit, chinchilla. Yeah, right? So they're going to give you categories as answers. Okay, let's look at number 3. Take about 10, 15 seconds to think about this one. How many pets do you have? How many pets? Are they going to give you a category or a number? Down? Numerical. They're going to give you a number. So if someone asked me that, I would say I have 2 pets because I have a cat and a dog. 2 pets. If we asked,
Wait, is it types of pets or like?
nope, just how many pets?
So 2 dogs.
Yep. If we asked Miss Dauphine, she would say that she has 2 pets. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Take about 15 seconds. Think about this one. Who is your favorite author? Is this categorical or numerical? All right, let's see. Someone that hasn't answered yet. Yoshi, do you want to try it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Categorical.
It is categorical. Good. When you answer who is your favorite author, you're going to say J.K. Rowling, Judy Blume. That's an author. I can't.
King.
Yeah,
Stephen King. I was like, I can't think of any authors right now.
I'm gonna say the guy that made it.
Oh my gosh.
What about the one that made Footsteps?
Rick Riordan.
I like
Okay, let's look at number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, number 5. Categorical or numerical? Someone that has not answered, I'd like to hear from you. Take about 15 seconds. Think about this one. How much time do you spend watching TV in a day? Let's say they ask you how many hours, right? Let's give it about 10 seconds. Let people come up with some answers. All right. Jada, do you want to answer this one? Which one is it? Numerical. Someone's gonna answer a number, right? Let's say I go home and I watch, I don't know, 5 hours of TV. I do not do that. That is too much TV. But let's say I go home and I watch 5 hours of TV. I have answered a number, right? We have 2 more questions here. The next one says, what's your highest score in the game? Let's say you play basketball and you're shooting baskets. What's your highest score is what they're asking you. Let's see. Someone has not answered. Who has not answered yet?
Points you scored?
Yeah, points you scored. Is it numerical or categorical?
I think there's only
Good. Missy says it's numerical and she is correct. They're asking for a number. This kind of statistic you're going to see all the time with basketball games. If you think about watching professional basketball or college basketball, they're always saying like, LeBron James scored 40 points in the last game. Exactly. All right, we have one last one. It says, how many movies have you watched in the past week? Numerical or categorical? Give it about 10 seconds. Think about that one. All right, who wants to answer that one? There's a couple of you guys. All right, Don, go ahead. This one says how many movies? Numerical. So this one's numerical because it says how many movies. So you could say I watched 5 movies in the past week. What if I had asked what movies did you watch last week? Does that change it?
Yeah.
It does. It becomes categorical then because it's asking you which movies. So you have to list out the movies, right? Good. All right. Let's see what's on our next slide here. It has so many questions about this that I don't want to do. I want to go ahead and go over to our Google document that we're going to answer. Yeah. So you can close the slides and let's look at our Google document really quick. Well, I'll give you a second to get it open. Maybe it was like a subconscious thing because I looked at this morning. So, all right, I'm going to give you guys about a minute. Go ahead and get logged in so that you can be on the Google document with us, please. Okay, about 30 more seconds to get this opened up. We're going to do it together. Well, kind of together. I'm feeling this back. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at these. The directions. Whoa. Stay. Sort the questions into 2 categories. Statistical or, that's not what I want it to be. Sorry, I want it to be. I didn't change the directions. It should say categorical or numerical. Are they? No, it's not. They're not all numerical. On the Google document, you can change the directions if you want to. I forgot to change them before I assigned it to you, my bad. So instead of saying are they statistical or non-statistical, we're going to talk about if they are categorical or numerical. So are the answers a category or are they a number? We're going to do, let's see, we'll do the left side together, and then I'm going to have you guys do the right side on your own. Okay? So let's look at the first one. We can click inside the boxes, right? It says, how many 3-pointers did LeBron James hit in his last game? Is that numerical or categorical? Numerical, it's a number. Okay, you can just put an N if you want. I'm going to write the whole thing out and highlight it for you guys so you can see it. Yeah, she put it away. Okay, so our first one, that's a number. If you answer that question, you could say LeBron James hit 6 3-pointers. Okay. The second one down. How tall are the teachers at your school? Numerical or categorical? Numerical?
Yeah, it's asking about a number.
It is asking about a number.
But it doesn't talk about a category.
Kind of. Technically, it's categorical. Just because the answers are a number on this one, it's still categories, right? Because I'm 5'2", Miss Daphne is probably 5'2",
I'm 5'3".
Mrs. Mills is probably 5'2". That's a category of how tall we are, right? And then you got people like Mr. Jordan, Mr. Turner. Who else is really tall? Mr. Gary. I said really tall. Miss Daphne is not tall. Miss Daphne is shorter than me. Mr. Henling, right? Lots of people are tall. That's a category of how tall they are. So this one could kind of go both ways, but typically, kind of. But this would be more categorical because you're going to put the teachers in categories of how tall they are. Which I know is slightly confusing because technically your height is a number.
But you're still doing categorical without a teacher.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that are the same height, right? There's only a certain range of height that you can go. Right?
And wonder who the tallest teachers in the school.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Jordan might
I
be
was
the
just gonna
tallest.
say it's the fun.
I think. I don't know. Mr. Gary's pretty tall, so is Mr. Turner though. I don't know.
Without his boots though.
All right. Our next one, number 3. What were the students' scores on DMS today, which is a test? Is that numerical or categorical? That is numerical. Those are numbers in data. That is a numerical one. Good, good.
But can you tell them without their shoes because doesn't it their shoes give them a little bit of height?
It might, yeah. All right, number 4. How many snow days did the school have last year?
Well, I have ABC because it's talking about Monday.
But it's asking how many.
Last year I had a half snow.
How many is numerical?
I just thought it'd be the same as the other one. But it says tall.
Nah, that one says just how tall. This one says how many.
You just want to say the dollars one.
Okay.
And you know, if you stretch, you get taller.
And then our last one that we're going to do together says, which flavor of ice cream is most popular among 5th grade? That's a category. They could tell you cookie dough, chocolate chip, Rocky Road, other ones that I can't think of right now. Cookies and cream. Good. This is categorical. They're going to give you categories as answers.
News track is my favorite. What about the half and half? That or
Okay, we're not going to talk too much about it. It's just a question. But moose tracks are very good. Okay. So now there are 5 questions on the right that I want you guys to work on your own. I'm going to give you about 2 or 3 minutes, and I want you to tell me, are they categorical or numerical questions? Okay, go ahead and work on that right side on your own. Talked a lot today. Yeah, go quickly. Okay, so go ahead and be filling out that right side.
I'm gonna take my water too,
Okay.
I'll be back.
Like the guy from Terminator.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll give it about 2 more minutes, let you guys finish up. Is there a question on the bottom? Underneath the chart? No? No? Then yes, you can. Unless you want to wait, so make sure you're correct. Alright, looking.
doing it and then we'll review it. Okay, do this one. How many brothers and sisters does each of your classmates have? You can just put it in. Okay. I'm a little bit wishy-washy, right? I'm gonna put that in. Yep, wait it. Done. About 30 more seconds. All right, let's go ahead and go over this. The top one says, how many brothers and sisters does each of your classmates have? Is that numerical or categorical? Numerical, because they're asking a number. So if you ask me, how many brothers and sisters do I have? I would say 0. It's a number, right? So it is numerical. I'm going to copy and paste. I don't need to type it every time. That's a numerical question. Number 2, or second one down. How many students brought their backpacks to school today? Is it a category or a number?
Can you still use the categorical thing?
This one is going to be numerical because it's a number.
Yes,
Right.
I got it, but I was just making sure it was.
It wouldn't be a category unless they ask what type of backpack did people bring, right? But we could go around this classroom and ask how many brought their backpacks. I was going to say, I know for sure at least one person in here did not.
I got it.
So there could be a statistic there. Number 3, how many letters are in your first name? That one's numerical. We did that one already, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And then the next one, see, categorical.
Yeah, these next two are slightly tricky, right?
Yeah.
This one says, what age are the teachers in the school?
It's the categorical.
I would go with categorical. It could go both ways, though. It's kind of how people look at the question. So I would be okay with either because age on this one is a number, right?
Yeah.
You could say, I think I'm the youngest teacher here. So like I'm 25, right? That's the age that I'm at. Miss Daphne is 27. That's her age, right? So, yeah. So you could ask, you could say that this is both categorical and numerical. I would give you both because you could put them in categories of age.
So can we put N/C?
Yeah. I'll put that as well. Whoa, not what I meant to do.
NC.
N/C.
NCAA.
This one was easy. I like this one.
And then our last one here says, which grade level sold the most candy in the last fundraiser?
C.
That is a category.
Because you can't list all the
Good.
classes.
Good. So this one is a category just because,
You can't list the class.
yeah, just because it's like 6th grade, 1. It's still a category. 6th grade is a category of people, not a number, right? So this is categorical. And you can turn in this document when you're done.
I got it all.
We are, that's actually all we're going to do today. Made really good timing on that.
And all I have to do is guess.
Yep. So once you are done filling out the statistical questions, you can get that turned in. For the PowerPoints, we're not going to answer these questions, so you can get it turned in as well. So you can turn in both, or the whole assignment you can get turned in. For those of you online, we have social studies at 12:30, and we will see you then. And for those of you here, we have lunch in about 10 minutes, so work on something quietly, please.
Bye.
Bye, guys. We'll see you later.